Beneath the badger, the dust now holds evidence of the work already done. Now the difference is visible even from a distance. Relief reaches the face first, softening an expression strained by constant irritation. The once crowded neck now needs only a careful final inspection. The body settles into stillness, no longer driven by relentless discomfort. Even the lower folds now need only one last touch. Beneath the mantle, the shoulder has almost fully recovered. Even the clearing seems quieter now, as the long tension drains away. Only a handful of ticks remain from what was once a dense infestation. One last tick leaves the shoulder, and a long chapter of irritation comes to an end. At the edge of the ear, the final small holdout disappears. What remains now is not struggle, but recovery. The little cleaners leave as quietly as they arrived. It is the same animal, but its stillness reveals how much has changed. In the wild, relief sometimes arrives through patience, precision, and the smallest of helpers.